How can you look at Botham Jean's family and friends and do that to them? That's outright traitor. She's a traitor to her own people, and regardless to what anybody say, you could see it and you can read it and comment in the comment section as the trial was going on in the broadcast from many stations. White people knew this woman was wrong in what she did, and they'll still support racism. They'll still support the murder of an innocent man. They're saying she's innocent, knowing that she's guilty, like the police immediately tried to cover up this murder. There's no way, as a commander, as a supervisor of a trained professional, I would buy that one of my subordinates will come and tell me I thought I was in my own place. I will tell her or he to get the hell out of here with that. Now, it's a whole lot of things that can distinguish her apartment from Brother Botham Jean's apartment. First, the numbers outside the door. A red doormat, secondly. Okay? And when you get inside, why would you not turn on a light? The first thing I do when I enter my home is turn on a light, and regardless to where you enter your home, in my case, through the garage, once I hit the automatic garage door, it opens and a light comes on, okay? And then there's also an additional light switch. And as soon as I get in by the alarm panel, there's a light switch, okay? 2 light switches for the same light. Or if I'm entering through the patio doors, there's a light switch. If I'm entering into the main entrance, there's a light switch. Why wouldn't you turn on the lights? You're talking about a silhouette? Of course there's a silhouette, because the man's in his own apartment about to eat some ice cream and watch football. Now, why wasn't, if the door was ajar and she thought she was at her own place, why didn't she call it in? As a burglary call, announce yourself, say you're off duty, I need backup. No, she went in off duty and she murdered that man. She murdered him. Cold blood. And she didn't care if he died. She said herself she intended to kill him because for one, she hit him with a mask. And she had other options. She could have tased him. There's no way a taser knock you on your backside. She could have tased him, but she used deadly force in a man's apartment. It was his apartment, not hers. And she used deadly force, but she wants us to believe, the people, that she thought she was in her own apartment. Now, it's a lot that went wrong. And everything that went wrong was her fault. And she caused everything that went wrong. Botham Jean was at home. The young brother, he was at home. So, he can't be at fault. Excuse me for 1 second. He can't be at fault because he was home trying to enjoy himself. And an intruder came in and murdered him. And the mockery of it all, they tried to use castle doctrine on her behalf. Stand your ground on her behalf when she wasn't at home. Now, I wonder if the dynamic would have been the same if the brother had a firearm and shot her and killed her. I wonder if the dynamic would have been the same. The brother was at home. Regardless if she walked in by mistake, she pulled the gun. The brother really did have a right to defend himself because she did, for one, she had a uniform on, but you don't walk in nobody's house unannounced. Especially in an open carry state. Now, she killed the brother. Police and Amber Guyger tried to cover it up. They tried to cover it up, and they did a terrible job. Because for one, there's no way they could have covered it up based on the dynamic. The man was home, and she tried to say the door was ajar. According to the neighbors, there's a mechanism in the hinges that causes the doors to close automatically. Regardless to what the lock situation is, the door still would have closed. So there's no way the door could have been ajar. Now, as far as the lock, I don't know that situation. Yet, when it comes to keys with a key fob type key, it records all entries and all, like when you lock the door and unlock the door, it records it. Now, I wouldn't put it past the police going to the management or the lock company or the security company that handles the situation and get them to go with their narrative. Police do that all the time. They try to pass a narrative off like they always do. Every time they stop a brother or sister, they ask them about drugs. It's some of these brothers and sisters who are driving or sober, and they ask them about weed. They ask them about how they've been drinking. Everybody don't drink. Now, who drinks more than Irishmen? Beer is a fucking Irish thing. Who drink more than Irishmen? And who are police more than Irishmen and Italians? It's a travesty what was done to this man and his family. Now, when the tables turned and Amber Guyger was found guilty of murder, and she was guilty of murder because she's a cold-blooded murderer, they tried to take her weed narrative out. They didn't want us to know about her smoking weed, but they tried to destroy this young man's character with weed, but they wanted to hide her drug use, where she was actually using drugs as opposed to smoking weed. Yet they tried to hide it. Now, they tried to paint her as the victim and our young brother as the intruder. And according to the testimony of family and friends, she killed a good young man. A young man that they said they couldn't imagine anyone not liking him. That's who she killed. And they could listen to all of that. Now, the defense had family and friends to speak on Amber Guyger's behalf. Not one of them apologized to that man's family. Not one apologized. They said how she said she felt, but not one of them had sympathy for that man and his family. That's a damn shame. And for they could to listen to all of that, the jury to listen to all of that and come back with a 10-year sentence, that's a damn shame and a miscarriage of justice. 10 years? She should have gotten at least 28 to 30 years to life. Now, the judge could have said, no, she needs to have more time than that. I'm going to impose this sentence. But our people, we have a serious problem. We try to be so righteous and so fair with those who are not fair with us, that just like the cop in Detroit, when that officer shot 7-year-old Aiyana Jones in Detroit, running up in this wrong house and shot the little girl on her grandmother's bed. That officer was supposed to go to jail, but the judge overruled it and freed that racist, not caring about human life bastard. That's what our people do. We have serious problems, and it's costing us, and it's going to continue to cost us until we get a code and get on a code. And once we get a code, stay on it. And if anybody break that code, they pay, regardless to who it is. See, a lot of our people are honorary, wannabe white supremacists. They want to be honorary white supremacists. The worst kind of black people, is black people who think that they have risen above the condition of their people. Meaning, so-called wealthy people that white people can snatch that anytime they want. They're only keeping it because they're behaving. And black people who are a part of the establishment and work hard to please and appease and coddle and capitulate to white people and white supremacists. That's the worst kind of black people. They don't care about their own poor. They don't care about us being victims of white supremacy. They'll support the white supremacists over supporting the victim. This was a miscarriage of justice. They did this man's family dirty. 10 years is a travesty. This lets us know, black people, brothers and sisters, they're not going to give us all of it. Okay, she was guilty of murder. Guilty of murder. When people get stiffer sentences for drugs and other nonviolent crimes, they get stiffer sentences. And this lady, this cave bitch, took a life. An innocent life. And all she get is 10 years when people who are victims of the Rockefeller drug laws got 15, 30 years. Some of them got life. And if you look at what happened with another innocent man who wasn't even a suspect in the Central Park 5, the exonerated 5, Corey Wise wasn't even there. And he got more time for a crime he didn't commit than Amber Guyger got for a crime she committed. Talking about a miscarriage of justice, I have no faith in the jurisdiction, the jurisprudence, the so-called justice system. It is a criminal justice system. If you look at the word criminal justice, in actuality and reality, the criminal is getting the justice. The victim is not. When it comes to black people, the criminal always gets the justice. George Zimmerman, he's the criminal, and he got the justice. He killed the man's son, of a woman's son, somebody's baby. Didn't even make it to be 18 years old. He was in the grave. Not the natural order of things. Parents are not supposed to bury their children because they were murdered by someone. It's not the natural order of things. Now, if the child's sick, you hold on as much as you could, give the care they want. And then if they transition into the ancestral realm, we have to accept that. But for someone to snuff your child out That's a damn shame. Especially someone who took an oath. But she didn't take an oath for us because according to her Pinterest, according to her emails, according to all social media she was involved in, she hated black people. She made a mockery of Dr. Martin Luther King's death. She made a mockery of the Dr. Martin Luther King parade. And what's crazy about that is most of these police departments and prisons in the South are ran by black people. Black people are that's involved in this, that head nigga in charge thing. The head nigga in charge, they don't understand. That stemmed from slavery. The head nigga in charge. When Massa was leaving the plantation to go to be with one of his mistress or go get drunk with other slave masters or go to an auction to bring back more slaves, or if he's not off raping one of our women, he put a nigga he can trust in charge while he was gone. A slave who was willing to keep the other slaves in line. The overseer for the overseer. That's what the head nigga in charge originated from. So Negroes going around talking about they're the head nigga in charge, remember where that came from. That came from slavery. They figured they had to leave one of these niggas in charge. So they find one of the Negroes, the niggas that they can trust, to keep the other niggas in line. And that's what these judges are, black police officers are, so-called elite entertainers, and so-called black people with a little bit of wealth. That's what the head nigga in charge is. These niggas strive and they aspire to being the head nigga in charge. We need to understand that. But it's a miscarriage of justice. She only got 10 damn years for murder, when it's brothers who committed nonviolent crimes who are doing more than 10 years. If you have faith in America's justice system, you are a damn fool as a black man and black woman. I don't care who's sitting behind that damn judge's desk, who's hitting the gavel. You're not going to get any justice from anyone who's involved in America's white supremacist justice system. I may trust Judge Joe Brown with his mindset right about now. That's about it. I wouldn't trust nobody else. These Negroes are on code with white people. Now, Chris said it. KRS-One said it. He said, if you bring out the brown, you're racist. But if you bring out the pink, they'll wink. That's what you want. That's what they want you to do. Bring out the pink, they'll wink. Anyone who subscribe and push a white supremacist narrative will be very successful. Like a Tommy Sotomayor, Tommy Sotomayor, him. Hassan Campbell, Jesse Peterson. All these people who push that white supremacist coddling narrative, Oprah Winfrey, they will be very, very, very successful. Those who straddle the fence or those who just go all the way over the fence to white supremacists, they'll be very, very successful. They will fund you. They will make sure you're living comfortable. They give you the best, the very best, as Brother Tariq Nasheed would say, the very, very best buttermilk biscuit, and they'll fry your chicken golden brown for you. They'll make sure your chicken is golden brown with the best grain of flour or cornmeal, whatever you use, and they'll make sure your buttermilk biscuit, the butter drips down your elbow. That's what they do for those who would sell their own people out. See, you think you're getting away with selling your own people out, but you're not. See, I know you're miserable. I know you are. Yet, the money that you're receiving for selling your own people out, you can live with a little misery. You can live with it. But you will pay in the long run. If you was my relative, you would pay in the short run. I will blast you every time I get a chance. I would damn sure keep you away from me, because regardless if you're a family member or not, if you're like that, I don't want nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. This is The Enemy's Public, and I'm Brother Nasir. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace.